Hi, this is Eric Kampmann with Chuck Davis, and we have been discussing his new book, which will be out in January, called The Bold Christian. Chuck, in chapter 6, you talk about, you do an introduction to a part of this book that gives us 7 principles to work with in terms of being bold and being assured in the Lord. I just want to read something you said and then just ask you about it, if that's okay. This suggests that our authority as believers is not equated with the depth or quality of our spiritual walk. Sometimes we might be in a bad place spiritually, yet we can still take a stand with great effect based on our position in Christ. However, in those times, the enemy of our soul, who is called the accuser of believers, will challenge our sense of security and cause us to doubt our position or standing. Given this reality, it is important to remember that our authority will flow most fluidly when other aspects of our lives are aligned to God's way. Thus, it is wise to learn the principles behind a consistent use of authority so that we can operate without a sense of complicity or hesitation. Can you just kind of elaborate a little bit?
So the danger in the Christian life is always to move to the angle of performance. We feel that our ability to serve God and to operate in His kingdom principles oftentimes is related to how well we're doing spiritually. But authority is not a performance-based a privilege that God gives us. It's rooted in our relationship with Christ. So it's positional. It has nothing to do with performance. And so there are times when people might be struggling spiritually. They're not connected with God. That daily aspect of connecting with Him might be gone. There may be sin in their life that they're wrestling with. And they might think, I can't operate in my authority. But that's not true. It's rooted in relationship. The complicity part is when we are not connected with God and when there's sin in our life, it creates an open door when the accuser of our soul, Satan, will come in and say, oh, you shouldn't be operating in authority here. You're in a dangerous zone. And I think what happens, it plays on our confidence in what God is going to do rather than our position. So we always want to be growing with God. We always want to be taking mature steps in our faith because the authority is going to flow more freely. But it's never conditioned on our performance. It's always rooted in our position in Christ.
It seems paradoxical a little bit because we're talking about boldness, and yet you're talking about, a lot of people would interpret boldness as performance, but it's actually not. It's actually more heart-driven than it is just head-driven.
Right. And it's God-driven in the sense that we're really aligning with the things that He already is desiring to do in our world.
One thought that I think this is from Oswald Chambers, from his book, My Utmost for His Highest. I hope I'm attributing correctly, but I read that Christians need forgiveness more than anyone else. And the reason for that is that we're called into the world. And we are going to make mistakes, and we're going to need forgiveness. But so there's no guarantee that action will not get us embroiled in some sort of sin or mistake. But that shouldn't stop us. We should be confident, like you're saying, in the Lord, because the outcome is not weighed in an instant, it's outweighed in terms of eternity. Yep. This is Eric Kampmann, and this has been Sunrise with Chuck Davis.